In the history of chess, we can find many intelligent players, many bizarre characters, and controversial figures. But only one of them represents those three combined features at his best. Who was Robert James Fischer? Bobby Fischer was born in Chicago, Illinois on March 9, 1943. His mother, Regina Wenda Fischer, was a US citizen, born in Switzerland and of Jewish descent. Regina, which ironically means queen in Italian, started studying medicine in Moscow, where she met her future husband, Hans Gerhard Fischer. Due to growing anti-Semitism in Russia and Europe, Regina flew first to Paris and then to the United States in 1939. So after Joan, the first child, in 1943 Regina gave birth to Robert James, her son. Given the difficult economic situation during the Second World War, when Fischer arrived, her mother Regina was homeless and without a permanent job to support her family. She engaged in left-wing political activism before moving to Brooklyn, New York City in 1950, where she began working as a full-time nurse. But the magic happened the year before, specifically in March 1949, when Joan, Robert's sister, purchased by chance a chessboard in a candy store. Arriving home, Joan soon lost interest in that boring piece of plastic, but not Robert. Robert Fischer enjoyed moving those pieces alone and learning how to play from an old chess book, found once again by chance. According to several biographies, his intensity towards the chessboard was so high that his mother was soon worried for the mental health of his son, who was spending hours alone playing on that chessboard. So she decided to introduce Robert to a local chess club. In 1951, Fischer played his first game in an exhibition match against a chess master, following advice from his mother Regina. Despite losing the match, the president of the Brooklyn Chess Club realised the potential of that little boy, who had never taken any chess class, but still was able to compete against a chess master. So the following years, Fischer spent more time in different chess clubs than any other places. 1956 was a crucial year for Fischer. Not only did he win the US Junior Chess Championship, becoming the youngest ever junior champion at the age of 13, but also his geniality began to precede him. It was in a tournament in Canada when Johann Kmoch, a chess player and journalist, defined as the game of the century a match between Fischer and Donald Byrne. Now, this nickname was given following an incredible queen sacrifice by Fischer to win the match. Kmoch wrote, "The following game, a stunning masterpiece of combination play performed by a boy of 13 against a formidable opponent, matches the finest on record in the history of chess prodigies." After the match, during an interview about his brilliant move, Fischer responded, "I just made the moves I thought were best, I was just lucky." However, regardless of luck, Fischer was on the spot, and the enfant prodigé of chess began to climb the rankings of the American Chess Federation. In 1957, Fischer successfully defended the title of US Junior Chess Champion and won the first US Open Chess Championship. In 1958, against all predictions, Fischer became the youngest US champion, winning the US Championship against the strongest chess players of the United States. Thanks to external financial support, Fischer was allowed to fly to Moscow, where he faced and won against very average opponents. But infuriated by the rejection of the top players to compete against him, including the reigning world champion Mikhail Botvinnik, Fischer followed Tigran Petrosian to Belgrade, where he had a chance of playing against grandmasters. Thanks to his victory in the US Championship, Fischer was eligible to play in the candidate tournament in Slovenia in 1958. Despite his young age and the level of the opponents, Fischer still managed to complete the tournament in 5th position. And once again, his brilliancy was spotted by chess experts. Amazing composure, precise calculation, and devilish resourcefulness were some of the remarks on Fischer's games. In the same year, Fischer also had the honour of becoming the youngest chess grandmaster at that time, 15 years, 6 months and 1 day. After scoring a few victories in minor tournaments, Fischer ended again 5th in the 1959 Candidates Tournament, played in Yugoslavia. Somebody else won that tournament, somebody from Riga, somebody called Magician. Somebody who was about to become world champion and somebody we shall never forget. Mikhail Tal. But that's another story of another genius. A story and a genius that will come on your screens very soon, so do stay tuned. But going back to our original genius, Fischer had a mixture of victories and defeats during the following years, until the 1962 Candidates Tournament in Chicago, where, unlike the previous editions, he was the favourite to win. But achieving only 4th place, Fischer accused the Soviet players, namely Tigran Petrosian, Paul Keres and Efim Geller, of pre-arranging the results of the games amongst themselves in order to preserve their energies for the matches against Fischer. And according to several sources, those accusations were real, and it seems that the Soviet players focused all their efforts on containing Robert Fischer. In any event, Fischer stated clearly that he was no longer interested in taking part in a candidate tournament with the same round-robin format. In 1963 and 64, Fischer created one of his masterpieces. Not only did he win again the US Championship, but he demolished the opponents one after the other, and won with a perfect score of 11-0. The amazing victory streak of Bobby Fischer ended up emblazoned through the main newspapers and magazines, and finally Fischer had reached the front pages of all the newspapers in the United States and beyond. And for the first time in history, chess was the sport occupying the first page of the sports news. After the US Championship, Fischer decided to take a sort of sabbatical, refusing to play in several high-end tournaments, including the Candidate Tournament and the Chess Olympic Games. Instead, he played around America and Canada, teaching chess and doing exhibition matches. In the second half of 1965, Fischer returned to the competition in his own way. Since the Capablanca Memorial Tournament was held in Havana, and, as an American citizen, he couldn't travel to Cuba, he decided to transmit his moves by teleprint to the officials of the tournament. But under these circumstances, the performance of Fischer was unsurprisingly deeply affected by the timing of the transmission, and he couldn't win despite beating, in a direct match, with the former world champion Vasily Smyslov. After winning his 7th and 8th US Championships and other major tournaments, as well as being part of several controversies, Fischer decided to take another sabbatical of approximately 18 months. In 1970, Fischer came back to compete to take part in a special event, the Soviet Union versus the rest of the world. Despite the Soviet Union winning, Fischer trashed the entire Russian team, losing only 1 game out of 16 matches. The Soviet team was humiliated for a second time after a few weeks. Petrosian, Tal, Korchnoi, Bronstein were all torn apart one after the other by Robert Fischer in the unofficial Chess Blitz tournament. This format of 5-minute games was conceived to make sure Fischer had no chance of being competitive, since nobody had ever seen him playing Blitz games. Shockingly, as we said, he devastated the Russian players, showing to the chess world that this time he was ready to take over the entire world. So that's the end of part 1, and in this second and final part, we'll continue from here. And we'll upload the second part soon, so if you don't want to miss it, we do suggest you subscribe to our channel and do turn on that alert bell. So we hope you enjoyed this one, and feel free to like, share and give us a comment below, and we'll see you soon.